How's it going, guys? I'm Neal. This is Get Technical. I'm not a financial advisor. This is purely for entertainment and educational purposes only, hopefully in equal measure. Guys, yeah, everyone talking about my hair. That's the thing of the day. Should I cut it or should I grow it out? My goal is to have the longest ponytail in finance. I know you know what ponytails I'm talking about if you've been looking at educators out in the space. Let me know. Give me a 1 in chat if you want me to grow it out down to my butt. Give me a 2 if you want me to cut it. Let's go ahead and get the screen up and let's talk about the agenda for today. Grow it out and braid it. Thank you, Global. This guy knows what I'm talking about. This guy knows what's up. For today, guys, FPRX. FPRX. I'm not doing a buzz cut, guys. I'm a balding 31-year-old man. I kind of am leaning toward growing it out while I can, guys. FPRX. Who got in? Give me a 1 in chat if you got in on FPRX. Yeah, boy. Red. Very good. Very good. Very good. Give me a 1 in chat if you got in. Give me a 2 if you don't know what I'm talking about. Next up is my favorite stock of the week so far. Looking for movement on it today. That's why I want to get to it real quick so we can get in. Full disclosure on this stock, I did purchase some during the pre-market hours. Thank you, Berlin. Grow your hair out now. You will miss it later. That's exactly my thoughts. ETF and crypto check-in. We're going to check in on those ETFs, baby. You guys know I like those thematic ETFs. You know, I'm a Kathy Wood guy, Kathy Wood. So we'll take a look at those. Is it time to get out? Is it time to stay in thematic ETFs, or is it time to switch over to something a little more stable over the long term and less susceptible to taking big old dips as market structure changes and markets overall change? Kind of a cyclical thing there. Is oil and energy still in play? If you guys have been watching the show, you guys know what I think about that over the short term. All right. Don't quote me on long-term oil and energy, but you should know what I think about it for the short term. We've got some plays. We're going to check in on some old ones, and I got some new ones. Guest lesson. We've got Alex Cole, former Bloomberg, now the founder and CEO of GoNoGo, which is a patented. I don't know if he actually has patent on that, so don't quote me on that. But it is a completely unique technical indicator tool that basically looks at charts, bakes in a bunch of technical indicators that I talk about and other people use probably a lot better than I do, and gives you a very simple go or no go signal. So he's going to give us a little lesson on technicals. He's the technical man. He's also a CMT and has done a lot of education on CMT, which is the Chartered Market Technician. I'm pretty sure that's what it stands for. Maybe Spencer, if you can check me on CMT, what that stands for. That's a
yeah, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, CMT, super cool. That's my dream, is to get the CMT to pass the CMT test. Guys, if you don't know what that is, check it out. And even if you don't want to do the CMT test, if you love technical analysis, seriously look at this stuff. Probably a lot of the people you follow on Twitter or that you follow that are technicians or technical traders, a good amount of them are CMTs. So check out what the CMT is and the learning materials for it. It's just great stuff to teach you the foundation of technical analysis. All right, picks from the chat after that. That's enough of me talking about what we're going to do, and now it's time to start doing it. Let's look at FPRX. Guys. When it goes, doesn't it? Let me close out this Bollinger Band. Let me close out this moving average. Let me close out this moving average. Let me get rid of my drawings, and we can just go back to basics. All right, guys? No lines, pure price action. Called this out last week. We had a nice cup and handle. Why is it a cup and handle? Well, let's dive into it. We've got a high point right here. We've got another high point right here. In between those 2 points, we've got a dip. All right. And this is following a large uptrend. Number one, when we're looking at these bullish continuation patterns, what do we like to see? We like to see my paintbrush tool, and we do an uptrend. And boy, was that a powerful uptrend. The bulls are loving this stock. Then when we hit resistance on our cup that we have formed, we had a little flag here. Why was my line invisible? Why is my line invisible? God, it's so hard when it's full screen, guys, because I can't see my tools. If anyone knows how to make the tools appear on full screen, let me know in chat. We've got a little flag, right? We hit resistance. We bounced off of it. We formed a little flag. That's the handle on our cup. Cute little cup. It's adorable. All right. And then what happened? We had what we were looking for, what we were watching for, is a close above this upper resistance slope on that handle pattern. We had that close above, and now we're going up, and the bulls are piling in, and the RSI is getting a little bit overbought, but look what it did previously. All right. We love this stock right now. So let's look at our price targets. I'm going to use the new method that was taught to me by one of the watchers of Get Technical. I'm going to use my Fibonacci Extension tool, which is available. Press the star left for tools. Okay, thanks. I'll check that in a minute. I'm going to use my Fibonacci Extension tool. First point I'm drawing is at the absolute lowest point of my cup part of this formation up to the highest point, which is that first resistance line. And then I have a third point to draw. That is going to be the lowest point on the flag that followed the second high in the cup, or the bottom of our handle. And when we do that, the first line that we see, this 100% line, is our conservative price target. You can see we're more than halfway there. What if you shaved your hair off the left side of your head along with your right eyebrow? Jerry, I'll consider it. I'll take that in serious consideration. Thank you. Staying on task. FPRX breaking out. Looks like we're blowing off a little bit of steam right now. We've got a red candle, but that is okay. I expect a stair formation up to the 100% line, keeping it conservative. Something else interesting, guys, as you know, we draw a line from the bottom of our cup up to the resistance line. This line is called our measured move. This is how much we expect this stock to go up. Let's draw this right at the low point of that handle and look at it line right up with that 100. So that's our price target. We're shooting for about 26. FPRX still in the running. Next up, my favorite stock of the week's got a lot of drawings on it, so let me remove that stuff. DocuSign. If anyone was at the boot camp, I think I talked about this one. Yeah, I did. I talked about DocuSign at the boot camp. Give me a 1 in chat if you like DocuSign, if you like what you see. Also, this is a very easy question to answer. Give me the pattern that you see on DocuSign forming. There are a couple correct answers to this, and I acknowledge that. It was pointed out to me during the boot camp. I acknowledge it. I've seen this chart on pretty much every increment. So we got ones. People like DocuSign. What is the pattern that we're looking for? Because we want to break out. We want a big jump. My interest is in having long-term high growth holdings in ETFs with good managers that I can rely on, like Kathy Wood. All right. That's the majority of my portfolio. So my money is working for me. But then I like to supplement that with breakouts and good entry points that I can buy options on or just buy shares on. Cup and handle. Boom, boom, boom. Voodoo. And a bull flag. It's both, guys. It is both. You're absolutely right. So you can do something like this. You can do something like this. Charts are weird, aren't they? Because we can see different things. Maybe that's why technical analysis so often gets compared to tea leaf reading, which is the mystical science of having a cup of tea and then looking at the leafy residue left on the bottom and then see in the future. So at any rate, I see that Alex is backstage. He's here quite early, like the guitars in the background. Got to say that, Alex. So looking at this from a cup and handle perspective, let's get rid of our flag. Let's get rid of it. Boom. Boom. Trash can. It's gone. Then where did I have this? From a cup and handle perspective, we've got our high up here. We've got another high. And then we've got a little bit of a sell-off at that resistance, right? We've got a nice trend up too. Let's go ahead and draw our U-shape. High to high to low. Okay. Looking like a cup so far. Yes, it's okay to have a slanted resistance line on your cup and handle. Absolutely. All right. And then let's zoom out so we can get this in context. This is following an uptrend. We've got a dip and then a return to resistance. And then when we hit this high point, we've got a little bit of a sell-off forming a small handle here. What can I do with this small handle to make this a true cup and handle? I use my U-shaped line at the high at the resistance and then up to the next peak. Cup and handle, guys. Cup and handle. All right, so this is DocuSign. Let's set our price targets. Let's talk about stop losses. Let's talk about return potential on DocuSign, which, by the way, has earnings coming up on March 11th. That might just be a major catalyst for a continuation of whatever we're looking at. So, Fibonacci Extension tool, bottom of the cup, resistance on the cup, bottom of the handle, looking at a price target of about 340. Entry, close above resistance. This is why I've already entered. So if you look at this kind of slope here, we are down a little bit. I'm in it. So my hope is that we break up above this again, since I'm already in this. If I do see it start to break down past this support line, I will probably get out. So that would be a breakdown. So I'm drawing a line right here. I'm going to make it red. If we see DocuSign reverse and start to go down past this red line, I'm out. All right. So let's look at the return potential based on my current position. So I got in above this. It was in the pre-market. I think it was about here, about 261. Return potential, 32%. What I will say about this is that the options are super expensive. So typically with something like this, I like to get in the money options, do something very short term, timed based on when I think the breakout will occur. Use the numbers, dude. What do you mean? What else we can look at is Fibonacci retracement to see support. And we can see that from the low to the high here, we are sort of touching this first support line on the Fibonacci retracement tool. Use the force. All right, guys, that is Docu. That's my favorite stock for the week. I expect a breakout. I'm hoping for a breakout. Everything is in support of it. Yes, we're a little bit down today, but I expect good things. Most of the market is a little bit down today. Most of my portfolio is red, but the stocks that we have picked for breakouts on the show are mostly green. Let's take a look at our ETFs. All right, guys, we had a little bit of a sell-off recently. Might have spooked some people out of their longer-term holdings, but as you know, it's about the bigger picture. This is about, oh, sorry, Susa, what did it, let me go back. I said this instead of giving a number. I apologize for using a pronoun. Let me go back. So So it's week 3, FRPX DocuSign. So entered around 259. My price target is 339. And then my stop loss, which actually right now for me is a mental stop loss, which I normally don't do because I'm busy. I work full time. So I like to have an actual stop loss on my brokerage because I can't pay attention all the time. But for this one, I'm going to keep an eye on it. My stop loss is 245, which is just a few ticks below where this handle, the low of this handle. That's it. That is it. Thank you for encouraging me to be more specific. Let's look at our Cathie Wood, our heavily Cathie Wood based portfolio. So guys, we had a little bit of a sell-off, guys. We're a little bit freaked out, but let's look at this in context using Bollinger Bands. If we look at our 20-day moving average, this ETF has been touching the 20-day and then bouncing back up 2 standard deviations, hitting the 20-day moving average, bouncing up 2 standard deviations. We actually have an acceleration of trend if this continues going up without touching this moving average or the mean, as you might call it. So guys, Bollinger Band on your long-term holdings to assess the trend continuation or potential reversal. What we see here, even though there was a little bit of sell-off, we were just blowing off some steam because we had some big growth, right? Okay, what are my continued thoughts? All right, so Sean, you're asking about Sabre. I'll go ahead and pull it up. Oh yeah, I do like it. Well, Sabre, it broke out. God, it's beautiful. So beautiful. So it broke out. So let's draw Sabre. Sabre, this one's a snack. Guys, this is a big old piece of cheese. SABR, we'll just take a look at what's happening. I want to look forward though, guys. I want to talk about trading opportunities that are still coming up. So I'll look at this now to placate you. But let's talk about what's happening in the future, because I definitely want to get into cryptocurrency, because if you guys don't know, there's a big old red candle on the biggest coins right now. So let's do what we always do with these double bottom patterns. This is pretty much a double bottom. You might make the case as more of a rounding bottom because there's a large percentage differential between this low and this low, but we'll go ahead and treat it like a double bottom. So what I do for that is use a rectangle, and I use the meat of the trading for my tops here. In this case, this is actually pretty meaty. If it was all wicks, I would not go all the way to the top of this. But in this case, I'm going to. Actually, you know what? So what we want to do, I take that back. That is not meaty. What I want to do is go back to the last green candle here that lines up. So let me get my rectangle tool. Boom. And as you can see, that's about at the bottom of that candle. So it's a nice little lineup. And then you see that this previous green candle, I hope you can see this on my screen. I'll actually full screen it in a second so you can see. This previous green candle high is lining up just about perfectly with this high on the other side of the pattern. All right. So this is the action. This is the battleground that we're watching like vultures above a medieval battle. To swoop in. We've broken out. It wasn't a huge swing up, but it is a breakout nonetheless. Something I want to look at is see if we've got a golden cross, which is the 50 crossing over the 200. So let me just confirm this. Move out, get the 100 out of here. Yeah, so we've got the 50-day moving average crossing over the 200-day moving average, showing a trend change. This is usually a precursor to a trend change, upward trend, looking strong, and then the breakout happens right about here. Beautiful, beautiful breakout. Great call from whoever gave me Sabre. I didn't get into Sabre. I didn't get into it. Kind of wish that I had. Still room to go on it. Let's go ahead and do our measured move thing. I'll just use my ruler tool at the bottom of this, bring it the halfway line up to where the meat is, and say that we've got a price target for a resolution of this bottom out, the sideways consolidation over time of $17.20. You bought the red candle. Way to go. Way to go. All right, guys. Let's talk about cryptocurrency. Wait, I didn't even get to the ETFs. Well, okay. The main thing with the ETFs, guys, the main things with the ETFs is watch them with the Bollinger Band. It's very simple. I'm not trying to get too complex with this one. Just use the Bollinger Band tool on your brokerage or your charting tool. Look at the daily chart and try to stay at ETFs that are maintaining an upward trend above the middle line. The middle line is this 20-day moving average. You want to stay above it. A lot of times the ups and downs in a healthy upward trend are bouncing off of that mean. If they're bouncing up all the way to the top line, which is 2 standard deviations away from the mean, down to the bottom one, which is two standard deviations below the mean, then you've got a more volatile trend happening. You've got a more volatile ETF. In that case, those are buy and sell signals if you want to be active with it. So with something like this, I like to hold it over the long term. And then if I'm piling in, or not necessarily piling in, but if I'm going to enter more, I like to wait to see it touch the mean. Or if it's more volatile, something like QQQ, I like to wait for it to touch the bottom before I get in, because I expect it to then return to the mean, which is that 20-day moving average, or above it, back 2 standard deviations up. We like healthy, zigzaggy steps climbing up on our long-term holdings. Crypto. Bitcoin. Holy smokes. So with Bitcoin, we hit I'm pretty sure we hit a nice price target here. So we had previously a nice descending triangle for entry. Got in at a break. I got in at a break above this slope. If you've been watching the show, you were with me when I drew this. We hit our price target here. Look at this beastly candle lining up almost perfectly with this price target. And then it kept on going. It kept on going, guys. Putting things in context. Let me look at the weekly. Because remember, with all of these big names, with the big 3, everything's a resolution of what happened back in December 2017. We're resolving these big rounding bottoms or double bottoms. All right. So Bitcoin has been a huge grower here. We've seen patterns all the way up, opportunities to get in. Now let's take a look at what's happening. When will the bleeding stop? When will the bleeding stop? Let's look at the daily. Let me close my bands here. The bands were not applying because this was such a strong upward trend that it was constantly changing the overall slope. It was going parabolic. It was curving up. So let's get that out of here. Let's close the Bollinger Band and just look at price and lines. So we've got a big sell-off. When you got a sell-off, guys, what's a good way to kind of get an idea of when it might stop? Are there any technical tools that you can get a good idea with? Yes. Number one, and the best one is keep it old school. Keep it old school by looking at previous resistance that is now support. We've got a big, strong, meaningful candle here. People sold a little bit after that. This is a very important point. Our sell-off pretty much hit, actually, if I raise this up even to the wick, our sell-off almost touch this previous resistance line. That's absolutely right. Watch the volume and resistance levels. We're still on sell volume, but it's not as high as it has been in the past. We've still got a day to take a look at this. We don't know what will happen, but we can see that we're getting a magnet kind of pulling it back up. All right. Let's get fancy now. Let's get Italian. Let's get Renaissance. We're going to use our Fibonacci retracement tool. So what is retracement? I've used this, I think one time on the show today, and I've used this in the past. Retracement is when a trend is going in another direction and it's retracing previous meaningful price points or price levels. All right. It's retracing lines that it has already covered, but in the other direction. All right. So when we see something like this, and we start clenching our butt cheeks about our holdings, we need to take a chill pill, shotgun a Red Bull, and pull out the Fibonacci retracement tool. All right, so what we're going to do is go to this previous meaningful support line and then draw another point all the way up to our high. Look at this 38.2% line. We got just about down to it, and look how perfectly it lines up with that previous resistance, now support level. We are confirming this level. We are confirming our thesis on this price level using another technical analysis tool. That's what this is all about, using various technical analysis tools, making sure that they agree before we make decisions based on them. If you're going to make a decision just based on one aspect of technical analysis, just one aspect of reading a chart, always use price and then volume. But if you have access to these other tools, they can aid you to give you more clarity and more insight into what's going on. And we look for them to agree before making decisions with our money. All right, so Bitcoin looks like it's got some nice support around this level. Bouncing right back up. In terms of growth potential, I'm open to you guys. Drop in chat right now what your short term, not long term. I don't want to hear 100,000. Give me your short term. I'm talking over the next 1 or 2 weeks price targets for Bitcoin if you're in. And while you're doing that, I'm going to switch to Ethereum. We got ETH. A lot of tools will have you look this up as ETH USD because this is currency comparisons. This is Ethereum to the US dollar. Let me know your targets for Bitcoin. 57, 64. Thank you guys for dropping those in. I'm going to get rid of what I have drawn here. So once again, guys, we have the wick for Ethereum dropping down to the wick of a previous important point in time, a previous important price level. Let me make that green because it's a good thing that it bounced. All right. So we know that we had support here. It bounced back up. This is Ethereum. Let's use our Fibonacci retracement from a previous point of importance. I'm going to use this point to see how it lines up, to see if it agrees with the line that I've just drawn. This is retracement going from the low point all the way up to my high point. And we see that just like Bitcoin, the 38.2 lines up almost on the dot with that level. Hey, Brent. Thanks for tuning in. Almost to the dot with that level. All right. So we've got a good agreement between two technical analysis tools. We've got a bounce here. Now let's talk about price targets, guys. That's a little bit more fun. I'm going to use something very lazy, but often effective. Lazy, but often effective. I'm just going to use the Fibonacci Extension tool, which is 3 points. It's the beginning of that trend. It's the high of that trend. And then the retracement. Right? The retracement is what we just talked about. It's at the support level. 100% is the conservative price target when you're using a Fibonacci extension. So just based on that, we are targeting $3,017 for Ethereum. Let's continue contextualizing this. Let's look at the longer term trend here. What do we got, guys? This is my favorite thing in the world. What do we got? What is this pattern that we see here on Ethereum? It's a favorite around here. Some might call it juicy. Some might call it big and fat. Some might call it a snack. It's a rounding bottom, guys. A big, old, long-term rounding bottom pattern. The longer the duration of time of your rounding bottom, the more powerful it is. And we love this. We love getting in on these rounding bottoms. All right? When everybody else is selling off and they forget about it, that's when we come scurrying in to the alleyways with the flickering street lamps. All right? Going through the dumpsters, rummaging, pulling out pieces of cheese, bologna sandwiches with like one bite out of them. We're going to nibble them up. All right? Rounding bottom, still looking to resolve. How do we measure our profit potential with this? We go to the absolute low point. We use our little fancy-dancy line tool, and we draw it up to our resistance levels. So we got this big sell-off here, the previous high, back when crypto mania was happening. And then we've got it right here again. Look at the consolidation happening, hitting this resistance line again. This is our rounding bottom, folks. We take this line and we draw it on top of our resistance, ladies and gentlemen. We draw it on top. And that gives us our price target for the long-term resolution of this pattern. Am I spooked by this sell-off? Hell no. Do I believe in Ethereum going higher? Hell yes. Let me get an amen in chat if you are bullish on Ethereum and cryptocurrency in general, based purely on technical analysis. Do I know anything about the fundamentals or real-world applications for Ethereum? No. But I'm looking at the chart. I'm looking at what the markets are telling me. All right? That's what we do. Price target for Ethereum, 2,787, a little bit below that Fibonacci extension line. All right? Profit potential from this point in time using our handy dandy ruler tool, 80%, ladies and gentlemen. That's Ethereum.